Good afternoon. We are here today to talk about diabetes, type 1 diabetes, and the small part we at Bozell can play in the work towards a cure. First, let me tell you a little bit about us. As you know, in 1921, insulin was discovered. Prior to that, diabetes was a death sentence for anyone diagnosed. What you may not know is that same year, Leo Bozell and Morris Jacobs started an ad agency in their spare time with one desk and no phone. In less than 20 years, they were doing work for MGM, Union Pacific, and Mutual of Omaha. Co-founder Morris Jacobs was fond of saying, "We must pay rent for the space we occupy on this earth." And he did just that by donating much of his time and energy to numerous charities. Bozell still lives by this creed by designating a certain percentage of work hours to nonprofits every year. Today, Bozell is worldwide, and we deliver to our clients strategy, smart targeting, public relations, social media, paid media, digital media, and creative content. We consider ourselves a Swiss Army knife of sorts, and we're able to assist you with any of our services. Now let's talk about type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is the number one most common chronic disease in children. There are 1.6 million Americans that have type 1, with a possible 7 million undiagnosed type 1 and type 2. People who live with type 1 and those who care for them walk a delicate tightrope between lows and highs. Too high and acid builds up in the blood, which can lead to long-term health issues and be life-threatening. Too low and the person can slip into a coma and die. Because of this, type 1s have to prick their finger several times a day to make sure they are constantly in the Goldilocks zone of blood sugar levels. Not too high, not too low, but just right. A common misconception about this disease is that it only affects people who are overweight, those who don't take care of themselves. I want this campaign about more than just a catchy slogan. I want it to be about educating the public on how serious and deadly this disease can be. I want it to be about correcting misconceptions and stereotypes. While working on this campaign, I kept thinking about how many people I've known who have type 1. And the thought kept coming to me, everyone knows someone with type 1. Everyone knows someone with type 1. The power of one. Be the voice of one. The power of one means many different things. It represents the power that this disease has not only to those that have it, but on them that care for them. It represents the individuals themselves and their resiliency in struggling with this day in and day out. And it represents the potential impact one person can have by donating their time and resources to this cause. Why should you use our agency? Bozell has a proven track record with over 100 years in the advertising business. Bozell has committed itself to nonprofit and community service work since the beginning. And speaking personally, type 1 diabetes is a very important issue to me because my best friend had it, my niece has it, and my daughter has it. Sarah was born on November 2nd, 2010. She was a bright, beautiful, silly little girl. A few days after her third birthday, Sarah was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. She was still bright and beautiful, but now she had to prick her finger and get a shot 5, 6, sometimes 7 times a day. And this change brought a lot of tears to a little girl who didn't understand what was happening to her. Eventually, Sarah got an insulin pump, and although she no longer needed the shots, it was not without problems. On December 24th, 2018, Sarah woke up with blood sugar levels well over 500. Her pump had malfunctioned during the night, and her sugar skyrocketed. She was taken to the ER and then life-flighted to Children's Hospital in Birmingham. She and her mom spent Christmas in a hospital room while her brothers and sister and I waited at home for updates. She was 7 years old. Sarah is 11 now and doing fine. Thanks to her mom, her endocrinologist, and Camp Seal Harris, a camp specifically for kids with type 1, she is learning to manage her diabetes on her own. She even wants to be a counselor one day. If you use Bozell, you get a company with a worldwide reputation and a century of experience. If you use me, you get the added bonus of someone who is extremely familiar with this disease. You get someone who truly and deeply wants the same thing that you want, a cure. Thank you for your time.